Anyone who's escaped prison knows this trick. Hopping back and forth in the same area messes up your scent. Even a police dog will get confused and lose the trail. To track down this escaped man, one police dog worked itself to death. But a few days later, he still got caught and brought back. Yet as soon as he was back, he started plotting his second escape. One day while working, he asked the guard for permission to go to the bathroom. The guard agreed, but ordered him to keep shaking a tree branch the whole time so the guard could hear he was there. The guard even fired his gun now and then to scare him into staying put. Suddenly, the branch stopped shaking. The guard shot at the tree. No response. When the guard rushed over, all he found was a white rope tied to the branch, leading into the woods. By then, the man was long gone. He'd even used a heavy axe to chop off the shackles around his ankles. To throw off the prison's tracking dogs, he sprinkled pepper along the path he knew he'd take. Then he turned and ran, leaving that trouble spot behind for good. Sure enough, when a swarm of cops arrived later, the sharp pepper smell made the dogs sneeze nonstop. It threw them completely off the scent. 3 days later, a photo showed up in the prison cells. The man was in it, with 2 women on his arms, living it up. Instead of lying low after escaping, he'd gone out of his way to flaunt his freedom. A week later, the man was dragged back into the cell block. A group of inmates lifted him onto a table. To them, he was a total hero now, just because he'd done what they all wanted to do but were too scared to try. The next day, the guards started picking on him in front of everyone. They told him to dig a deep hole in the ground. He knew he couldn't refuse. After struggling to finish the job, a second guard suddenly showed up and ordered him to fill the hole back in. His reason? The man had dug a hole in his area without asking for permission first. The man didn't waste time arguing. He dragged his tired body over and spent an hour, finally getting the ground back to how it was. But right then, the first guard, the one who told him to dig, showed up again. He asked the man, "Where's the hole you dug?" When the man stayed silent, the guard threw him to the ground. In that moment, the man couldn't take it anymore. He grabbed the guard's leg and started sobbing, yelling through his tears that he'd realized his mistake. But this scene left all the inmates staring at each other in shock. The hero they'd looked up to had crumbled right in front of them. What they didn't know, though, was that this was all part of the man's plan to play weak so he could strike later. Right then, he was already plotting his third escape.